This is
Up
Up for Grabs, a podcast where three unfiltered friends talk about anything and everything. And now, here are your hosts, Tracy, Kim, and Rachel.
Welcome to Up for Grabs. Happy New Year, everyone. I'm Rachel. I'm here with my super good friends, Kim.
Hello.
And, well, Tracy's kind of super good. Tracy?
Hi.
Like I said, Happy New Year. We were, if you're watching on YouTube, which you should be because you don't want to miss out on all the visuals.
They might.
We've had a little bit of a studio upgrade. Since the new year, Santa brought me this beautiful backdrop with the logo, and we've enhanced some of our sound. So if we sound extra good, it's because of our executive producer, Rob Brown. He upgraded us.
It was nice that we all got a gift for your Christmas gift. So
It really was.
I like to be included.
No,
in
I know.
that.
New
Yeah.
year, we're becoming the real deal.
We're fancy.
We can't stop now.
No, we can't.
So I think that it would be great if, as a New Year's resolution, if you're listening, you give us a good review. I don't know wherever you listen.
Yeah, wherever you listen, there's, like if you listen to through Apple, I mean, they're all that way. You can leave a review. It's very important to us for the podcast.
Why is that? Because I didn't know it was important to us.
Well, when you leave good reviews and you leave there's multiple reviews, it kind of bumps you up in the search
It drives
engine.
the traffic back.
It drives
to us.
the traffic
So then more
back.
people get to experience us.
So it's like it's part of the algorithm.
It is part of the algorithm.
Look at you being all techie.
Yeah, you know.
Don't
you
have
know.
any idea.
And a good Facebook review also helps because then more people that actually know us and those who don't, but will see it. It'll come up on their feed more. So
Yeah, and I have a special request to share our page.
The Facebook page?
The Facebook page. Like when we post something about an upcoming podcast or just anything, if you're seeing that, just give us a share because then it goes to all your friends and friends that we aren't
I have
friends
like
with.
1,000 friends on Facebook. And
Do you know any of them?
Yes, I know all of them. But I think that if one of my other Facebook friends had a podcast, well, some do, and some I listen to, and I at least give it a try. So if you at least give it a try, you don't have to like it. And you don't have to come back. I think you will.
But because everything does work off word of mouth. I mean, let's face it. The Fabuloso sales went up exponentially after our podcast.
I know more people that bought Fabuloso.
It's true.
I'm waiting to hear from them.
How
Literally.
about the Squatty Potty? Do you think that was a hit?
Only in your home.
Yeah.
No, I did not buy the Squatty Potty.
I told you to get that for Rob for Christmas.
I know, and I didn't do it because
You don't care about his bowels.
Thank you for saying that out loud. I don't. I do not care about his bowels. And we should probably just check in with each other. I'm only doing this because I have good news to share. I'm sure if I hadn't done anything, I wouldn't bring it up. But we did have our New Year's podcast where we talked about things we hope to incorporate in our lives. And two of my things I've been okay with. So I just wanted to follow up and let you all know, accountability wise, I have been writing at least 500 words a day, which is hard when I have nothing to say, but super easy when there's a topic in mind. And I reached out and called my college roommate that I hadn't talked to. I checked our messenger. The last time I had checked in with her on Messenger, her daughter was in second grade and her son was he was 4. He's going to be in school soon. Okay.
You weren't lying about there
No.
being some time gaps.
I mean, we've been on Facebook, but we haven't talked.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I reached out and I spoke to her on Tuesday and it wasn't scary. I don't know. I don't think I expected her to say, well, thanks a lot for
Picking me?
for not calling. I thought maybe I might get chewed out.
or just awkward.
And it wasn't.
That's true friendship.
Good job.
So I felt good and bad because I'm like, why didn't I do it a long time ago?
Yeah. I still have not cleaned my closet.
Oh my God. Kim was going to help you do that.
I know. I was going to say,
Yeah.
I think that that's a daunting thing. And I think that if you have somebody that is there to push, honestly.
Off air, I think you need to make a date.
I know.
come
and
over.
you think I'm going to judge?
I am.
Like,
Maybe.
My
You haven't
closets-
seen it.
My
It's
closets
really
are
bad.
bad too. I mean, I may be very good at being neat, but I'm not good in that category. I'm not a
See,
good-
and that's even more pressure because then I feel like if you walk in and go, "Oh my God," then it's like worse because you already said you didn't
you
judge.
almost want it to be bad because it's so rewarding when you get it organized.
Well, you're about to have the reward
Like when
of your
people have
life.
bad, don't you ever look at like the before and after people when they redo their
Yes.
pantries?
Yes.
I mean, it is. It's like, yeah,
But I judge. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't judge. So
Sometimes
I
I do.
clean houses for a living.
No judge.
No judgment.
Well, make that off the air. And I know that Kim Schaefer is definitely following up on one of her
I am.
New Year's goals. We didn't say resolutions. I don't like that word.
No, not just.
But Kim wanted to read more. And so we said, bring it on. And so today on Up for Grabs, we are going to be discussing Kim's very first book club pick. And I have to say it was a great success. That was a great first pick. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
It was a good first pick. So I didn't know where to begin. So I got on Goodreads. I got on Amazon and I Googled and Googled and Googled. And of course I went by reviews. And this book called The Midnight Library by
Matt Haig.
Matt Haig came up as one of the most downloaded Kindle books of the past year. Hundreds and thousands, I mean, not hundreds and thousands, in the 20, 30,000 range of reviews. So I was like, okay,
That's a lot.
so let me just see what this book is about. And we're going to discuss it. So we'll let you know. But it was a very fitting New Year's book. Like a
It
New
was.
Year, it really, to kind of step back and reevaluate your life and the decisions that you made and the regrets that you have and being appreciative for just it being what it is.
Right.
So it was an easy read. And it was a really good book.
It was very interesting. We are not going to give away the ending, or we are? What we need
Well,
to discuss now.
Oh my
before
God,
we
you're so
get going.
funny. I
I feel
almost
like-
said what happened at the end.
So we put
I don't
on
feel like it's
Facebook that we
necessary.
were reading it, and
Yeah.
we're also going to put out there before we drop this episode. Hey,
Okay.
spoiler alert. So yeah, I mean, I think we need to talk about it.
Okay, I just wanted to know where we were going with this.
Yeah, I think we do too, because I figure if 30,000 people have already reviewed it, there's a good chance that somebody out there that's listening has also already
we
read
do
it.
not hold the secret.
We're not
key?
the secret.
No.
We've never been the secret.
Okay.
So book club pick number 1, The Midnight Library. Let's discuss. Do you want to, Tracy, you want to lay out like just kind of the bare bones of like what the book's about? Or do you want me to do it?
You do it, and then I'll jump in.
Okay.
because I don't know.
So it's about the protagonist is Nora Seed, which I thought was a weird name, but okay. It's based in Britain, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm not going to start talking in a British accent, although I'm tempted, but it's not
I'm
good.
afraid I'm going to accidentally now. Accidentally.
Accidentally.
Kind of like when you watch Harry Potter and then you think that yeah. So Nora Seed is like a 35-year-old gal that is going through a rough patch, and basically things aren't going the way she thought or wanted in her life, and she kind of considers ending it.
I was going to say, I know that I'm just trying to be politically correct. Trigger warning.
Very good.
This book addresses suicide.
It does.
It doesn't go into any
It's-
gory details.
Not at all.
But if that is something that is triggering, you might
this
want to.
may not be for you.
It may not be for
But
you.
it
So
really is such a small part.
it really is.
The actual act is such a small part of
Yes.
the story.
It is.
So just yeah.
So it's not about that. And
It's
it doesn't,
not about that. No.
And really, I don't even know if it was just the only way the author probably could get to where he wanted to
Yes,
go.
I agree.
Yeah.
Despair, like that
Yeah.
your life's in despair.
Right.
That
Yeah.
type thing. So
So Nora is in despair. And when I forget if I think she overdosed. So she wanted to overdose. She didn't. It didn't
they really
work.
don't go into great detail.
Yeah.
They just.
But she's somewhere in her consciousness between being dead and alive.
Correct.
Is that right? Okay. And then things unfold. Tracy, from there, you can take it from there.
Well, okay. So, which I want to go before I go forward. When you mentioned her name, Nora Seed, I think that was intentional. Like some of the sayings, like one of my favorite. I have a lot of little plaques, that
Yeah.
say different things, and one is "Bloom where you are planted," and I like that idea of being growing where you are. And this is all about the seed where how it grows depends on where it is and the
deep.
environment.
You are good because I wouldn't have picked
You
up
didn't?
on that.
See,
No,
I thought that was
didn't.
I thought it was
I
intentional.
really didn't pay too much to her last
think
name. I
yeah.
just paid attention to.
I don't know about the Nora part. That might have a meaning that I don't know.
That's
In Britain.
That's really interesting.
Okay, so there's that.
Okay.
Um,
Good one.
Any hoozy. So she takes some pills and she wakes up in a library, but it's not a library, but a library was kind of her safe space as a child. So, and the librarian, Miss Elm, which
Miss Elm.
is again a tree planted stability.
Okay,
Gosh,
Tracy.
stop
Wow.
You didn't
it.
see all that?
God, I'm just not that deep. No.
She's
Now I
seed
do.
elm. I mean,
Now I do.
feel like a fool.
Me too.
I am so delighted to make you feel such a way. No, I'm
She
not.
is a
I
know.
just really
She
felt
is a
that-
know-it-all.
She is.
Okay, that was prior to this podcast. That
Inside joke.
conversation.
Inside joke. But okay.
But I am. No, I was just kidding. No,
Mrs. Elm.
Miss Elm. So they are her comfort. So she kind of goes to a place of comfort, but in that place of comfort, she is presented with all of these shelves of white bound books that are green bound books that are different ways her life could have gone based on decisions she made throughout her life. Is that?
Yeah.
And the thing that I thought was overwhelming, and it was kind of like, since it was a dreamlike state or whatever, it was infinite.
Right. Yeah, they moved. Sometimes they would move. I forget what she said it was moving like, but like an assembly line if
They
something's passing
shifted.
you.
They just like
Like a suitcase thing where
Yeah.
it just kept coming, and then they would go really fast or really slow. And
Her book of regrets.
there was a book of regrets, and that's where she had to start, was with her book of regrets. And she didn't want to do it. She didn't want to open. She didn't want to go back to what her regrets were. But in order to move forward, she kind of had to look back at the way things happened.
And I think one thing that I liked about the Book of Regrets, when she would go back, so she got to pick books and go back,
Yes.
like thinking, oh, I would have been super happy if I would have pursued
and
this.
and her alternate lives.
There was a part in the book that, she came back from the alternate life. Like she could come back, which I thought was nice. Like if
Right.
it wasn't working out and she would rather be back at the library, she could get back there. But I liked that in the Book of Regrets, it would disappear. Mm-hmm. Like as she did it, like,
As she processed that and worked through it, that came off her plate.
yes.
She was able to let that go, and it was no longer an option of things to occupy her mind or her time.
Yes. I found it interesting that, I know he had to do this for the book, but this, for a lady that she was 35 and just was working at some store, she was like super qualified to do a lot of things.
Oh, heck yes, she was.
And it made me mad.
Because she just lived her life in regret. She had a lot of
But
baggage.
she just didn't know what she was qualified to do.
Yeah, I think she was lost.
Well, name some of the things that she was qualified, like some of the lives that she went back to. And you'll be like,
Yeah. An Olympic swimmer.
okay, yeah, that's not something that most everyone is just.
But she gave it up in high school. She gave up swimming in high school. So then it was, what would my life have been like? And there were
Scientist, like some type of
Glaciologist or
a
something.
Yes.
glacierology. I'm not saying
Yeah.
this right, but the study of glaciers and the study of
and that was just based on an interest that she had when she was young.
So she went and
But she
worked,
Follow up.
I think one of the things that was
musician.
the musician
The
thing.
musician.
Ridiculous. Come on.
And the thing that made me stressed when I read the book was that when she would get dropped into whatever life she thought was going to make her happier, she wouldn't have any recollection of what was going on. She was just dropped in, and then she would have to kind of pretend and lie her way around.
Yeah, she
and
used her phone and social media, which thank goodness I post so much on social media because I could really drop it down into a lot of good information for myself if that's the case.
So when you get transported,
Yes.
So based
I will
on
have a lot of reference material.
Yeah. So based on her life, it kind of goes through a history of her parents and what kind of relationship she had with them and her brother and a best friend, a fiance. So it goes through all that. So when she's dropped in on these lives, her the people in her life may be presenting in different ways. Someone may have already died. So she doesn't know, like, is he alive, or is my friend there, or is the guy that I fell in love with, that I broke off my relationship with, is he? So she kind of has to piece it together, which it was stressful reading that, because you guys will have to bring in the terminology, because, I don't remember a lot of the things, but,
The premise of the book is that there are parallel lives, or they said perpendicular lives, where like these lives are all happening simultaneously depending on the choices that you made. So they are what ifs, but they're all what ifs versions of yourself.
they're intertwined in your
sense.
past experience is the way that I looked at it.
Yeah, but kind of like they are all happening at the same time. If she had
It was a
gone that way.
multiverse sort of thing, and I didn't understand Spider-Man in the multiverse. So when this was, quantum physics, surprise is not my thing. But I think if I read maybe a quantum physics for dummies, it would basically say
Well,
Yes.
that it's possible.
there are a
There's
fair amount of
infinite-
people that were here living. I mean, what did you call it? Like, what was the word that you used? Like, kind of like an avatar.
Oh, an avatar. Yeah.
I mean,
Like,
that's kind of a simplistic way to put it.
Yeah.
Is that, it sounds a little hokey, but
there are a lot of people that believe that, though.
If you go down the wormhole of trying to educate yourself and why people believe that, I could get very sucked into that. I think my, the way I was brought up in my faith and my Christianity
Right.
kind of keeps me away from that. But the idea of what she was doing kind of fascinated me.
And I don't know that it has to keep you away, because, I'm same faith base as you, although I've expanded or looked at things differently now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not opposed to this. And if the God that I was raised to believe in could create what I believed at the time to be heaven, I don't really believe in hell, but I always believed in a heaven, then why couldn't that a same power, force, God, being, whatever it is, create these multiple planes?
Yeah. And I'm not saying,
So then I'm saying, is it not possible to believe in both? Does it
I think
have to
that's
be one or the other?
not that I wouldn't like that. I'm not accepting of it. Is that I think that's where it puts my skepticism. Like when I was reading it, and when the library to me signified, like, in my faith, like purgatory.
Right.
Yeah.
It kind of signified that she was stuck.
Stuck in
And
between.
when you hear of people that have near-death experiences, and people that really have, like, The Shack would remind me of something where you're like in a deep dream sequence, that I really feel like that is your subconscious speaking to you.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I wanted to look up, because when you said Avatar, it reminded me, there's Jim Carrey is very into all of this parallel universe things. And there's a quote that it reminded me of that says, "Depression is your avatar telling you it's tired of being the character you are trying to play." And, what if
the great philosopher Jim Carrey.
hey, he
That
may
is
end
a
up
deep-
being
that
though.
is a deep
Isn't
quote,
it,
though.
a lot of times it is the actors and the people that are open to.
They're more in touch with, I feel like they're more in touch with their intuition.
Yeah.
They're eccentric. So they're more in touch with that part of themselves that other people don't get.
They don't shut down the part that the rest of us do. And I think that was a big part of this book was, what if you don't shut down that part of you? What if you don't shut down the creative part? What if you don't shut down the chance taking part?
What if you're open to the possibilities?
100%.
Yeah. So really the themes of this book were regretting decisions, embracing what you have.
Yep.
When you were reading the book, Kim, did you have something that you immediately thought, oh my gosh, if I would have chosen, differently at this point in my life, I wonder where I would have been instead of where I am now?
Yeah, I tend to think about that. I wouldn't say like I'm compulsive. I tend to think about that a lot sometimes. I think that as my life I've gotten older and gotten more in touch with not being so afraid to feel that, to feel that way. This book, I literally haven't stopped thinking about this book since I read it. Like it's really kind of been one of these things. And I just have to, I know I'm kind of sidetracking,
No, go
but
ahead.
I follow a guy on Facebook that went through some tragedy, and it's called Mitchell's Journey. And it's like, it's been like probably 8 or 9 years, and his son died of a heart complication. That's beside the point, but he doesn't post very often anymore, but he posted last night. And I'm going to read this paragraph that he posted and how much in correlation it is with this book.
Oh my
Because it
gosh.
freaked me out. And I've been thinking about it ever since I read it.
Okay.
So So now that you know a little bit what the book is, this was his quote. We are never just one thing. We are many things at once. We are both harmony and contradiction, love, anger, faith and doubt, grief and joy, fear and change. If you are one thing, you also possess its shadow, which it like was, I don't know, it gave me the chills.
Yeah.
It says learning to sit in life's paradoxes. And I kind of looked at the paradoxes as the parallel universe, is where we discover profound truths about ourselves and others. So like learning just to be in where you are in your life now, because I've gone down that wormhole of if I only would have finished college, if I only would have put myself first in my 20s and all those things, like where it would have led to a different life. Would I have been in a more professional type of working atmosphere? Would I have been more independent where I would have traveled more? But yeah, I mean, maybe, and all these things. And there's parallel lives that we can talk about that later. I mean, that's one of our little bullet points is like, if we could have an alternate life, like what, but it doesn't take away from like, I'm here. And
Right.
so all the baggage, all the grief, all the pain, all the joy, it's like whatever kind of decisions I made brought me to where I am sitting today. And as human beings, and especially someone that myself that doubts and is very anxious and very worried about futuristic things, that little quote that I just read spoke to me in, gosh, just be more present in your own life.
It planted her.
I did.
Like, and you constantly have to remind yourself, be present in where you are, because you can't,
Well, I think one thing that I took away also was that, I mean, it was interesting to me. Like I said, this character in the book was super qualified at a lot of big things.
Yeah.
The swimming, the rock star, she went to all those things and chose to come back to the library. Like there was something about even what she deemed the best life
Wasn't satisfying.
wasn't so good. And so that really made her think, you know what? Wherever I go, there's going to be good and bad, like the duality of it. And I can be as happy as I want to be in my own life. I was just surprised that she didn't say, oh my God, a rock star? Yeah, I'll do that.
Right.
The
But
way
there are trade-offs in every choice, every decision, every
Yes.
path.
I love the
and
way
the trade-offs didn't work out, even though she might have thought that was what she wanted, was the success. But that success wasn't the success she was looking for.
So it's almost like thank God for unanswered prayers, that kind of thing.
Yes, the way he wrote that was he did it so well. And then like how she would disappear from it. It just kind of
When she
came
get that
to an
feeling,
end.
yeah.
And she went to the library, and the whole quest was, in the grand scheme of things, and towards the end of the book, the whole quest was, her whole reasoning for being there was for her to say, I want to live the way that I am, in the life that I have, not in all the other things that I think need to bring me
Right.
happiness.
And to kind of expand on what you just said, it was to say, I am alive.
Yes, that's what I was looking
Yeah,
for.
I am alive. So
Like, just be
You
grateful.
want this, you want that, you keep looking forward, but figure out how to be happy where you are.
Yep.
That doesn't mean you don't look forward. One of the quotes that I like that I don't really know that it ties in here, but I want to say it, was a Thoreau quote that says, we only know what we perceive. Everything we experience is ultimately just our perception of it. It's not what you look at that matters. It's what you see.
Yep.
And I think that is very clear in everywhere that she went. It's not what she's looking at, it's what she sees. And that didn't bring her the happiness that she had hoped to see, looking out at the crowd or winning the medals. And that part when you said she got dropped into these lives, when she had to give a speech in front of thousands of people.
I
and
was
not
nervous
know
for her.
what her life was. I know, I was too. I was like, make yourself throw up. Do something. Get out of there.
I was like,
But
go
she
back to the
didn't. She did
library.
like the moment. Yes.
No.
That would be enough to, apparently public speaking is enough to make me want to turn around and
No,
say I want to live a different
he was
life,
very
but-
good at writing that, because you really did feel like, I kept thinking say I'm sick.
Yeah.
Like fake a panic attack. Go. Like, what are you going to do? Like
fall down, do something.
You would say fall down because you
I fall.
you're a
I'm a
faller.
faller.
She's a faller.
aging rapidly.
Well, let me open up with one of the things that I wrote down. The Neil was the character that was her boss at the music store.
Yes.
Neil. I went back after I read it just to kind of, maybe I was looking to be more deep and get more meaning, but Tracy outdid me on that, clearly. But Neil had a quote that I liked. So he was basically trying to beg her to quit her job.
Yes.
And she wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
He's like, you have so much potential. What are you doing here? You're miserable. Get out of here.
Yeah.
And she's like, but I need this job. And I think everyone can relate to that. Who hasn't stayed in a job just because
Oh,
they
for
need
sure.
a job, but they had no business being there,
Yeah.
which was every job I've ever had.
But then the firing led to her suicide, but still.
Wow. Yeah.
Attempt.
Well, you really brought that point down, Tracy. Thanks.
But I'm sure in the moment, that's again where you think you're helping someone. I'm sure he thought he was helping her, and I guess in the long run he did, because she did come full circle to
It was a
this, but-
culmination, like her cat, you know, like,
Yeah, it was
you
a
know,
lot of
all
things.
that. It was a lot of things. But yeah, you're right. I mean,
So his quote to her when he was basically begging her to quit and she wouldn't was, "It's never too late to pursue a dream," which I thought that was pretty deep for a boss. That
Yeah.
so after looking back, that kind of is a theme of the book, but it happened right at the beginning and it went over my head.
You're right.
I know. Oh, and one other thing I wanted to talk about. There was one decision that she had that would be considered super small. And it was teaching that one kid piano. Do you remember that part
Yeah.
of the book?
Yes.
yeah,
So I get the big things.
because it was brought up again at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I get the big things. An Olympic swimmer, a rock star. Well, this smaller decision, it was that she didn't tutor one kid in piano. And it turns out like she went to a different life and saw this kid. And I forget, was he in jail or
He
something?
turned to a life of crime. She saw him getting arrested on the street.
So basically, she defended him, I think. She was like, no, he's a good kid. I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
It must be a mistake. But basically, and it wasn't affecting her life, but it's just kind of the small things that you do that maybe you don't think are important really do make a huge difference in other people's lives.
And it was a big determination in what her final decision was in her life was based on him, and the fact that how she affected others was not her own, not her own outcome, her own personal outcome, but the effect her life had on others was how she helped decide which path was best for
Yeah,
her.
she wanted to be accountable to him in some way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was interesting because I'm sure there's millions and millions of little decisions that you make every day that affect other people and you don't even know.
Yeah.
And I think that's wonderful. So, Kim, did we ever get to your decision making?
That was so Rachel sent us some things to kind of like bullet point, and to kind of like discuss. And what was it? It was the decisions that led to my life today.
Yeah, like
that was heavy because, I could go through many therapy sessions and be like, okay, well, the decision I made here and the decision I made there. And I don't think that there was a concrete decision that led to where I am today. I think it was just a bunch of little decisions.
Okay. Do you remember any of the first of the little? Because I found that to be true. Like the first of the little decisions that snowballed into.
I don't know why I think I struggle with it because I don't want to go entirely so deep on this.
Right.
I think that my biggest decision, and this does not reflect that I think my life is bad today,
right,
or anything like that, was that I wasn't a goal-oriented person at a time in my life when I probably should have put a little more emphasis on that. Maybe consequences. When I graduated from high school, I loved high school, did not excel in academics. And it wasn't because I couldn't excel in academics. It's because I literally did not care. Yeah. And I'd really have to dig deep to understand why I didn't care, but I didn't, because I didn't think that those decisions that I was making in high school would carry on to my life. And they kind of have in their own little way. Sure. Because I didn't go to college. So at 19 years old, I was working full time at the state. And let me tell you, that was...
It sucked.
And it wasn't, but I didn't, or that I, maybe one of my insecurities is that I struggle with not feeling intelligent enough or well-rounded or worldly because I didn't have those experiences.
Right.
Or maybe that the things I struggle with as far as independence and fear of stepping outside of my comfort zone may have been because I didn't take care of myself
Right.
first, that kind of stuff. So
I get that.
I think those probably are, making that decision to not go away to school and form me
right.
probably led to certain paths of my life today.
Well, it's never too late to pursue a dream.
Yeah, I
That's
will
what
never
that
go
guy
back to
said.
school. That's all right, though. I'll work on myself, but not that way.
Tracy, did you have anything that
See,
jumped
I would
out at
maybe
you?
go back to school.
There was
I
a
don't
time
know.
when I
I
thought that I
haven't done
would, but I think
Well, I
that
would
ship
live
has
on
sailed.
campus like Rodney Dangerfield or something, but I don't know.
Now she's Rodney Dangerfield.
No major other than like I applied to one school for college, which going to college then, at least for people in my family or other, wasn't a sure thing. Like not everybody did it.
Yeah.
It was not easy. I didn't have money, but I applied to Ball State. I went to Ball State. I became a teacher because I was not good at math. I didn't know what else I could do. I see people that are nurses, and I thought, I would always, when I was in college, I thought they must be so smart.
Yes.
And they are smart. They're smart because they made a good decision. I have now met lots of people in the medical field and that are, top of their field and everything. They're smart at what they studied. They read the right
Yeah.
books. They did those things. I mean, some of them are obviously genuinely just smart, but that's just what they focused on. Those people didn't have something that I didn't have at that moment. They just channeled their energy to
Right.
that area or that thing. So I think, what if I was a nurse instead of a teacher? Like how differently might that be? Or if I'd gone to a different school or like when we moved down and we were moving to the Pendleton Police District, and so I had to find a place. And I looked at places in Greenfield, and Anderson was cheaper, so we moved to Anderson. Then I taught in Daleville because I lived right there. So, geographically, little decisions like
Yes.
if you have a spot and you go 15 minutes this way or 15 minutes that way, that changes your whole friend set. It changes your job
Yes.
options. It just
Yeah.
changes a lot. I mean, but then, my life has changed in ways I never knew. I moved over to the East Coast for 10 years. Didn't see that happening. I mean, so many things that I never planned for, never intended. And the little decisions though, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the one decision that I thought of, and I really felt like Kim said, it wasn't that decision that I made this little decision and boom, this
Yeah.
was the final result. But if I wouldn't have made that little decision, it couldn't have led to where I am, and that was a phone call I made, and I admittedly hate making phone calls, and this was when I was in college, and I really hated making phone calls. But my mom did what she does, and she talked me up to some guy that had come to her classroom to read a book. It was Celebrity Reading Day or something, and it was a hockey player, and this man came with the player, and she's like, what do you do? She started grilling him about what he does. And, well, my daughter is, doing communications. Can she, do you do internship? Like she basically got this guy's number and told me to call and get this internship.
She saved the day.
And I did, but that was unusual because I was like, first of all, it was my mom telling me what to do. Second of all,
And you're a grown adult.
Second of all, I, didn't know anything about hockey. I didn't have any interest. I was like, for whatever reason, I made the call. I got the internship. I worked there. I met my husband.
Was the guy that you called Rob?
No.
Okay. Because I haven't heard the story before.
Oh,
I mean,
no.
I knew that you and Rob met through work, but
We
I did not know how it intersected.
Yeah, so he didn't work. Rob didn't work for them then.
Okay.
And he only worked game nights, and I was his boss. So he never worked
You
for.
really wanted the opportunity to say that, so I'm glad
I
you got
did.
it.
He was a terrible worker. I'm just going to. And then I married him.
And then you became the terrible worker.
That's right. Haha. Who got the last laugh on that one? But no, it was like one phone call. I mean, yeah, I had to go and interview and get it and whatever and pursue it afterwards. But if I didn't make that one phone call, I wouldn't have met him.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be where I am and have the kids that I have. And so to me, that was deep.
That is deep.
I feel like you are way more confident than I am as far as taking chances and putting yourself out there.
How so?
Everything.
You're
Like there are a thousand
confident.
things I want to do and I
Yeah.
don't act on them, or I think I want to do and I'm like, I can't even send that email. I can't apply for that job. I can't. And I feel like you said there, you made the call and you didn't know anything about hockey. Who tries to get a job in communications with hockey who doesn't know anything about hockey?
Me.
Exactly. And I lack that confidence that, sorry,
That's okay.
that,
It wasn't confidence. It was
it's-
desperation.
and it's not like, and it's weird because like, on one hand, do I feel failure? I fear rejection more than I fear failure.
Me too.
Like, I don't care if I'm not good at something or if like I don't
100%.
look the best, or
But
I
you don't want
feel
someone
this
to tell
best.
you?
And I say I fear rejection, but then again, I don't know why I say that because like if you don't like me, I don't care. But if I put myself out there, I guess, and try something, like if you meet me though and you don't like me, like my feelings aren't hurt.
You wonder what's wrong with them, though.
I do wonder what's wrong with them. Why would they not like me? But not that I would give it any time or energy. But I guess if I put myself out there and then you tell me no, like I got a rejection on a job application the other day, I cried. And I'm laughing about the fact that I cried because it wasn't even a job that I wanted. It was just the fact that they said
dare
no.
they
yeah,
not
like
want
why
me?
wouldn't
And I
you
was
just
like,
like
you didn't
talk
even
to
interview me.
You didn't even get the
You know,
chance
you
to
say
even.
everybody needs a job. You know, oh, everybody's hiring. No, they are not because you didn't hire me. And I would have been better than whatever person you're going to get for that job. And I know that, but
Yeah.
well,
No,
I didn't get the opportunity to do that, but it just made me sad that I didn't get the chance
Yes.
when I tried. And
Yes.
and I guess that's the part. And so then you quit trying.
I hear you.
No, I agree.
But really, for this particular decision, I mean, I'll take the compliment. Maybe I do throw myself out there when I shouldn't. But in this particular time of my life,
Yeah.
I was desperate. Okay. Because guess what? When you're a communications major at Purdue, the only way you get a job is to work for free as an intern somewhere.
Yeah.
Right.
And I saw other people doing that.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Okay, but you also did this and you aren't desperate.
You
You
know
did
the
this
podcast?
podcast. Yeah. You're not desperate. Like
don't
you
know
didn't
that.
need it. You just wanted it.
I'm desperate.
Okay.
No, no, but you're right.
Second
I'm not.
season, yeah.
But what I'm saying is, at that particular decision point in my life,
Right.
You do some crazy things. You put yourself out there when you're desperate.
No, you do. Definitely.
I was thinking of something ridiculous to say about how I was going to put myself out there being desperate, but I'm not going to.
Please don't. So, is there another life that you would love to be dropped into just to see what it would be? Just to have a quick look-see, not to change. I mean, I guess you
Like
could
that I
change if
had
you
an
wanted to.
option to, or just imagination? Are you saying like an option that I could have taken and didn't, or if I
No,
could just
just-
drop into any life?
Just anything that you can think of that you thought, you know what, that could have been fun for me. I'd love to see who I was as this version
Yeah,
of me.
probably an actor.
And what do you see?
I have stuff and I can provide.
And you like all the accolades. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but even that, like, I don't know. I just would live easy.
But there's a lot of things you could do to live easy.
Well, but that one, I
But
feel
you
like
see
it
it.
was easy to live easy instead of hard to live easy.
Okay, so
All right. And I'm skinny. What do you want me to say? I don't know.
So you drop in and you're acting.
Yeah, that's all.
Do you find that you would be in movies or the television? Or would you take over a streaming service, really? We don't know what you would do.
I would do it all. I would kind of Sandra Bullock the whole thing.
Okay, so you'd be kind of a
Production,
Sandra,
writing, all of it. Yeah.
just dabble in it all.
Yes.
Yes. Kim, is there any life that you'd like just to jump in?
I went in a completely different direction. So I was thinking about this because, and then of course my worry of like, now this isn't saying that I don't like the life that I have now.
It's okay.
But I have these dreamy experiences where I'm like, and I know it's because of an experience that I had. So I was lucky enough, my brother studied in Rome for 3 years. And so I was lucky enough to be able to go to Italy. And so I'm just using this as an example because I don't have a whole lot of worldly experience in travel. I would love to have been dropped back into a time of simplicity. to like live in a small Italian town that doesn't have any big grocery stores and you have to go out and get your breads and your cheeses and your meats for dinner, where you talk to people on a daily basis, where you are walking all the time, where everything is just simple.
Just a European life.
A European life. And that to me, I guess is because we live in such a world of chaos that I think that to me, I need to be by water. That definitely, if I'm going to go to an alternate life, it better be warm and it better have water.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just, there's not like, I've never wanted to be an actor. So I don't know. I mean, I think that's funny. I love that I love to see what like other people's like lives would have been. Honestly, I've never really wanted to achieve anything more than just like being happily married and being a mom. I mean, so
And that's
like,
hard enough.
like
That's not
put me in a small town in Europe and where it's just, I don't know, where the hardest thing I have to do is walk down the street to get some cheese or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. That sounded really dumb, but I don't know. I just like their lifestyle.
Yeah.
They're not in a hurry.
Yeah.
And you take your long siesta during the day and lunch, and they eat like at 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and they socialize with each other. And one thing that I saw when I was in Italy was that everybody touched each other and hugged each other, and
COVID.
everybody you couldn't do that now, but it was and I know that their lives aren't perfect, but it was just a sense of a world at a slower pace.
Okay.
And that's what I'd like.
Well, I like that, and I think this quote that I pulled will end this very, very well. I looked at the end of the book when Nora was where she wanted to be,
Yes.
and her quote was, "Most of what we feel in any of the other lives." So the feeling of being
Simple.
simple, the feeling of being
Famous.
No, it wasn't really the fame. It was the
I know.
comfort, the security.
The security.
Yeah.
most of what you feel in any other life is still available to you in this one that you're living.
Okay, then famous.
You better register in that acting school.
Just kidding.
It's available to you, Tracy.
Okay.
So start sending out your tapes. I don't know. I don't even know. Do they do that anymore?
Do you need some
Do I
headshots?
need to send a VCR with it so that they can view my tapes?
Yes.
No, it is. And it may not be like the full picture, but pieces of it are still available.
Yes.
Yes.
The feeling. Like you're
the
not
feeling,
in Italy,
yes.
but the feeling of being slowed down and at peace and being present is available to you. It's
I
just
know.
something that needs to be worked on. But it'd be more fun in
I'll
Italy. I'm
hug
not
you
going to
and
say
eat
it's not.
cheese with you.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
That not helpful?
I'll drink the wine. She can,
Oh, yeah.
She can
I
have the
mean-
cheese. So, yeah. So, basically, if we wanted to sum up our thoughts on the book, highly recommend. Makes you think about your life and
Yep.
There
what you
was
have.
so much that we didn't touch on that just.
Oh, you could keep
the
talking about
direction-
it. So
the
it's a-
conversation didn't go in that direction, but I want my kids to read it because it is just very thought provoking. It's a good story. If you don't want to think too deeply, you can just enjoy the story. But there's so much that's applicable to your own life and your own situations.
It's a great New Year's book.
Yeah.
As far as just starting off on the right foot, that just kind of makes you think.
it opens up all possibilities. So, yes. So, thank you for joining us on our very first book club selection. It was The Midnight Library by Matt Haig.
Good job, Kim.
Excellent job, Kim. We
Thank
look
you.
forward to having Kim unveil. I don't know, Kim, do you want the pressure of unveiling another pick, or do you want one of us to pick a book?
I think we can take turns because I think each of us have different interests
Okay.
or different. Yeah. So we can take turns.
Tracy, you're up. So be looking online for our next book club pick. Tracy's going to pick. So if you hate it, you can
It's
blame
Tracy's
Tracy.
fault.
It's always my fault anyway.
It really is. Thank you so much for joining us on Up for Grabs, and we hope to see you soon.